How's everybody doing this morning?
Doing good. Happy New Year.
Likewise. I'm headed back home right now. I'm in the car, so I have to apologize. Meeting with a guy this morning is going to help me try and sell cybersecurity to Space Force.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You know Adam, right?
What's his last name?
Anderson?
I've met him before. Yeah.
Crazy man.
Yeah, that's perfect. You need a crazy man.
His current business is he wants to put whiskey in space and sell it as space whiskey for like $1 million a bottle. All right. Go for it. He knows his audience.
That's the modern day pet rock, Jack.
I mean, you know, his target audience is people that like only want to buy stuff that other people can't buy. You know, people with $1 billion net worth that are, you know, have a $50,000 or $1 million, you know, whiskey room. Okay. They'll pay $1 million for a bottle of space whiskey.
That's cool. You can see someone selling that.
Anyway, yeah, right. I mean, if you had more money than you could ever spend, why not spend $1 million on one of 100 bottles of whiskey aged in space? I don't know. Seems plausible to me.
You can even make like the bottle pressurized so that it'll release regardless. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of cool stuff there. Well, did everybody have a good break, good Christmas and New Year's? Hanukkah?
Yes. I did.
Let's hear some highlights, Jack. You want to start?
I mean, highlights for us. I mean, my sister had her first child, so I got another nephew. That was pretty cool. Pretty cool highlight.
You stole my highlight.
I know. Well, you can double tap the highlight. I think you were actually there. Anybody else have a good highlight from the holidays?
Kevin, what's your highlight?
This is B&R, folks.
Listen, Jack, I'll lead while you drive.
Okay. I'm gonna turn my video off so you guys don't watch me get in a wreck.
Kevin, what's your highlight?
I was just here at home relaxing. Didn't really do much. Just playing video games, to be honest.
That's good.
That's a highlight, Kevin.
Yeah. How about you, Brandon?
Well, I hope everybody got everything that they wanted for Christmas. I got a bunch more hunting gear, every piece I needed. And did an interview with 418 over the break. With maybe some exciting things there. So it was a good holiday.
Who was the interview with?
418, Mark Jaster's 418, cybersecurity tech intel company. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to meet him. He's a really down-to-earth guy and did some tests for him. I'm not sure, but I think Jimmy Johnson did the same thing. And we're going to go through some more of that this week. So, you know, fingers crossed.
Good job. That's great. Mark, how about you?
Just doing some of those admin stuff for the Army, like all of my like VA, terminal leave, like all of those stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody? Troy?
Yeah, I just went home. Went home to Pittsburgh, saw some family, saw my brother, saw my baby niece. Played some games, drank some bourbon, opened some presents. It was a good time.
That's good. Good. Excellent. How about you, Ivan?
Yeah, I mean, I saw family. We went out to the beach and all my parts for my AR came in, so that's pretty nice. I can go to the range now.
Sweet. Yeah. Oh. Kevin? Oh, we already did Kevin.
Yes.
I did Kevin, sorry. So missing anybody? Colton.
I just went home, and saw some family, open some presents, hang out with the nieces and nephews.
Okay. All right.
guys,
Well, I had a
think
couple of highlights.
it's worth noting that for most of you, this will be the last time you have to put leave in to go on holiday. After you get out, you can just do that without having to ask permission or put leave shit in or anything. So
Yeah.
look forward to that here soon. Go ahead, Padre. Sorry to cut you off.
Well, a couple things. Another funny thing about what you just said is I was never in the military, but I'm an entrepreneur. I like business, I like trying things, and I work 7 days a week. I mean, I work Christmas Day, and work is not a good descriptor of what I do. We're trying to make things happen, trying to do stuff. So, the goal here is to find something that you really like to do, where you don't want to just sit there and do nothing. So, I wasn't always here. It took me a while to find stuff I really liked, but that's the goal. And in terms of highlights, I had a couple of them. I had a grandchild. My daughter had her first child, Jack's nephew, named as Sterling, appropriately enough. That was good. I got a tour of Fort Benning. Has anyone here ever been stationed on Fort Benning? Okay, Brandon, Colton. My son-in-law is stationed at Fort Benning and gave me the ride around tour. I couldn't believe how big it was. Pretty amazing. And then on Christmas morning, I opened up a package and it was a Kel-Tec 21 round, 12 gauge, short barreled shotgun. Pretty much for protection.
Who gave you that?
Thomas.
Good
You
Lord.
say 21 round?
Yeah, I think trying to find a way to get more in there, but I think 21's the max it'll go. Just in case there's
I'm
any.
going to Sawmill on Thursday. If you need someone to test fire it for you to give you an idea how it works, I'll be Huckleberry.
Absolutely. I might go with you. I'll be home.
Can I say one thing before we move on to more pertinent business stuff?
Yeah.
What he just said, guys, about the work life kind of balance and when you work and when you don't. One of the things that has fucked me up the most since getting out of the Navy 5 years ago is, I'm living in Greenville. I'm from Greenville. Pretty much every Christmas while I was active, I would take a leave for 2 weeks and come home to Greenville and do what you guys all said, right? Do basically nothing. Take the time off, hang out with friends, family, just basically let my hair down, be on full vacation mode while I was on leave. And then I got out and I moved back to Greenville, and for years, I didn't realize it, but I was in the same mindset in Greenville that I was on holiday for 2 weeks a year, but I was just there all the time. So I had to create a routine for myself, and really I kind of mirrored what you do, Dad, which is, every day do a little bit of something, keep moving the ball forward, whatever you're working on, and really discount those big holidays and breaks that most people take, because they're not as relevant to you anymore, because maybe you're working for a big company and they take time off and all that stuff. But if you're a self-employed person, if you're an entrepreneur, even if you're not, even if you're working for someone else, being a little more routine and not taking, the weekend off or the, 2 weeks off for Christmas, like just kind of touching something every day, even if it's just for like an hour, it really helps kind of settle you and give you some structure, because I found that in this lack of structured environment, I was just, every day could be, just like it would be on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, put your sweatpants on, drink your coffee, kind of just fuck off and not really focus on work, because I didn't feel like I was in work mode. I was in home mode, vacation mode. So just something to reflect on as you guys are getting out. You just did your last probably Christmas in the military, which is awesome. But notice how your mindset and your behaviors changed when you were off duty, and then realize that you're about to be there all the time. So you're going to have to be deliberate about setting your own routines and schedules. And it's worked well for me to set, I'm not working 8 hours a day almost any day, but I work almost every day of the week. So just food for thought. Does anyone have any thoughts or reflections on that before we move on to like sales stuff? Does that relate to anybody? Or you guys all still on the other side, haven't experienced that yet?
No, that's actually relating to me right now. But I'm trying to keep a routine as well. Like you said, do something every day.
Yeah. Ivan, I've got a checklist that starts at 5 o'clock every morning, every day. and it sequences me all the way to 11. And
Okay.
at 11, that's all my stuff, the stuff I want to do. It's educational, it's prospecting, learning, it's a, physical, all the stuff I want to do. And it's over at 11. And then at 11, my schedule is open for whatever I want to do, meet with people, make sales calls, do business development, play music, whatever I feel like doing, really. So it's weird. It's a weird thing. I used to kind of just jumble all that together, and I would kind of feel guilty as the day went on if I was doing something fun that I hadn't gotten the other stuff done. And now that I do it first thing and do it early, then it's the guilt. I'm guilt free, in the afternoon to kind of be more exploratory and more creative. So I'm a big fan of the morning checklist for whatever's important to you.
What do you use? Do you just use a pen and paper or pencil and paper?
So what I use is I use Outlook, and I've got it, it's on my calendar. So from 5 to 11 every day is a block. And if I double click on it, it'll show me the sequence. So from 5 to 6, from 6 to 7, each thing has a couple of things per hour. And so every day when I wake up, I just click on it, and it's so weird because your brain, my brain anyway, and most people's brain, it will want to start with something else. It'll be like, well, I better check this, or I better check the news, or I better, go for a walk, or your brain will just tell you something. But then you have to, with your groggy eyes on, you have to look at your list and say, oh, there's the first thing. First thing is this, then this, and you just start checking them off the list almost mindlessly until you're through. So prospecting, we've talked about prospecting. Prospecting is one of those things that I do early. So it's like 10, and they're not even phone calls. It's just emails. Like, hey, Brandon, what's going on? Is it time for us to talk about that thing again, or should I leave you alone? Good luck with your hunting season. Click. There's one. Kevin, are you settled yet? Is it time for us to talk about that thing yet? I can do it on Friday afternoon if you want to. Click. 2. Get them out there. So, Jack, we talked about starting off with the morning checklist, right?
Yeah, I think it makes sense coming back from a holiday. It's a good time to talk about routines. As far as the business of the day, I think the agenda we had discussed was wrapping the submarine, maybe doing some full runs of submarines. If anybody wants to take a crack at, going through the whole submarine doing a rep there. And then once we've wrapped the submarine, getting into more, the technical stuff about, I want to start maybe talking about a CRM, walk people through HubSpot, walk through some of you're about to do a pretty big data dump with all the acronyms and jargon in the military. So we're going to, show you some new acronyms and new jargon in the tech space. Stuff that you could be selling, I've got some stuff there. So do you want to take point on the submarine thing while I get settled? I just pulled into the driveway.
Yeah.
I'll be up on the computer here in the next 5 minutes. 10 minutes.
Okay. Let's start, Brandon. Let's start with you. And I want to thank you for turning me on to, was it Pexel.com?
Yes, sir.
You see, I got a new background.
I like it.
It's a big sloppy rhino.
That's
kind of that's our family motto, is the rhinoceros.
I've felt like that on days, I tell you.
Yeah. There's a book out there that you should all read. It's the easiest little book you've ever read. It's mostly pictures, but it's called Rhinoceros Success. You can buy it on Amazon probably for $10. It's a little paperback book, but it just gives you the simplest little lessons about being like a rhino, having thick skin, not expecting to get, a barb every now and then and not worrying about it. There's a lot of good little messages in there, but we like that book. Our family likes that book. So we've done the whole, have we done the whole sub? We've gone all the way to the very end.
I don't think we have. Didn't we end on decision? Isn't that
Yeah.
where we're at right now?
Yeah. So now we got to cover fulfillment, and then we got to cover post sale, right? Okay. So does anyone know what fulfillment is? Take a stab at it.
I'll take a
Okay.
stab.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Fulfillment, wouldn't it be kind of wrap up the conversation? And hopefully we're landing a big fish here and kind of wrapping up that deal before we go to, or that would be the post sale, wouldn't it?
Well, it's okay. It's a reasonable guess. Fulfillment is what we would call the demo. Okay. It is most people would call it the demo. It's the proof that we know how to solve the problem we just figured out. So we figured out they have this big problem. It costs them $1 million a year. They know where they're going to get the money from. They're comfortable paying 200 grand a year for it. They know how to make a decision. And so now, after getting all that information, now we can say, well, okay, there's a big point here. We don't want to say this. We don't want to say, okay, now, Brandon, let me show you how we can help you. Okay, we don't want to do that. Now, does anyone want to guess why we don't want to say that? Okay, the reason, very important you understand this. The reason is because we don't know what they want to see. We don't want to guess at what they want to see. What most idiot salespeople do at this point is they say, okay, let me fire up my computer. I'm going to show you how our product works. And this is where this prospect will go like this. Look at my eyes. They'll go. They'll just start to nod off. Okay. Because what do they really want their problem fixed. They don't want to see your product unless that's what they tell you they want. So at this point you say, well, Brandon, now we know what your situation is. We know about the million. We know you've got the money the way to get it done. And we know you're okay with around 200 grand a year to fix it. What is it you'd like to see from us to make you comfortable that we can help you solve this problem? Some version of that you want to say. Or let me give you an even better one to say. Okay, Brandon, we know blah, 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 blah. Brandon, what would you like to do now? Don't even assume they need to see anything. What would you like to do now? Some people will say, we'd like to go forward. We'd like to go forward. Listen, when you sell this way, sometimes you never have to show them anything. But then sometimes they will say, well, we're gonna need a demo, or we're gonna need a reference visit or whatever. And at that, you want to get all those things written down, whatever they want, and then you want to drill down again and say, what do you want the demo to look like in order to be able to move forward? Because they might want a full demo. They might want to see the product in action. They might want a high-level demo. They might want a PowerPoint demo. We don't know. So the big message here is to keep asking the prospect what they want to do next. And it will be far less than you can imagine. So you're going to do less work. You're going to close quicker. And you're going to have less likely chance that your product's going to get disinterested in your story. So Brandon, you want to try that one time?
Sure, let's go for it.
Okay, just give me a quick summary of me saving money or whatever, and then say, so John, what would you like to do now?
Okay, outstanding. Well, thanks again, John, for sharing all that. I see that, your company's down 400K with this recent breach. And from what we've been talking about, it looks like you have the budget to ensure that doesn't happen again. And that's absolutely where we want to be with you. But what do you think that you need from me and my company to go ahead and move forward with this? What would you like to see?
Okay, so that's not horrible.
Okay.
just think about that sentence. And again, I've used that sentence before myself, so I'm kind of thinking through this as we talk. But what would you like to see in order to move forward? Sounds a little salesy. It sounds a little salesy.
It almost draws the automatic demo too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it just sounds like almost my spider sensors are going off that there's a salesman trying to sell me something. And I think you want to say with great empathy, you want to say, so John, what do you think we ought to do now? Like you're just like Columbo, you're just scratching your head, you're curious. What do we do now? And then let the prospect drive it and say, let's go forward, but I want a guarantee, or I want a full demo, or I want to go see one of your customers. And then you're going to say, if you go see a customer and you're happy, then what happens? And you keep putting it back on them versus saying, if we go see this, will you place an order? Because that sounds salesy. If we do this, then what happens? Or what would you like to do next? So just try to say that term one time right at the end of your thing.
So John, what would you like to do next?
That's great. It's great. And it's so easy, isn't it?
Okay.
It's so easy. The prospect loves staying in control. I mean, they like to think they're in control. And they don't want to hear the salesperson talking. Okay, so Mark, are you ready?
Cool. Yeah. So John, what would you like to do next?
Give me the setup first. Give me the setup about how much money I'm losing, and so take me through pain budget decision. You're losing $1 million a year. We can solve it for 200. You're okay with that? Blah blah blah.
So John, so we come up sorry, let's do it again. So John, I know we have discussed the money that you're losing in your company, and we have come up to that one resolution that we can our company is able to provide to fix the problem that you have right now. So what would you want us to do next?
That's it. That's it. And you did a great job of not saying anything else. Very important you guys understand. You say, so what would you like to do next? And don't say a word, because the person they're gonna be so shocked that you asked that question. They're gonna be dumbfounded for a second, and then they're gonna blurt something out.
All right.
That's
can I say also? You say like, how would you want to proceed? That's fine also, right? How would you want to proceed?
I think that's okay. That's okay. It suits your personality maybe better.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound silly when you say it. And like give them a thought process on how.
So the first time this happened to me, when someone sold to me this way, it was like I thought he was dumb. I really thought this guy was, what the hell's wrong with him? Because he was like, what? So John, so what do you want to do next? Like he didn't know. And I was like, listen, you dummy, I want to hire you guys, and I want to get started, and I want to go, it kind of got me a little bit emotional. So anyway, it's just such an easy question here on fulfillment. And remember, the bad salesperson would have done this. First of all, they would have done a demo. And second of all, they would have done it at the very beginning of the submarine. So they said, hey, Mark, or hey, Brandon, nice to meet you. Hey, let me show you my product real quick and see if you might want it for your company. And that's what people do. It's idiotic. Okay, Kevin, you're up.
One second here. All right. Hi, John. So we've already discussed that you guys were losing about 100,000. We were able to solve your issue for about 20. Well, sir, what would you like for us to do next?
That's it. That's it. It's so easy, isn't it, Kevin?
Absolutely.
It's so easy. Absolutely. It's so easy. So easy. Oh, I love it. You guys are getting it. Okay, Colton, you're up. Don't mess it up.
So John, you're losing about $1 million a year, and we can fix it for about 200,000. What would you like to do next?
Yes. Yes. Very good, Colton. Ivan.
Hey, John. So we previously spoke about how much you're losing. You said about $1 million. And we told you we can save you some money on that by fixing it for 500,000. What would you like us to do next?
I think that's pretty good. The middle part, I couldn't quite understand what you were saying. I mean, I heard the words, but if I want to make it okay. Remember we talked about you're talking to like a fourth grader.
Yeah.
So slow it down and say, so Ivan, we talked about it. It sounds like you guys are losing somewhere around $1 million a year, and we thought we could stop that for a one-time 400K project. So that's where we
Okay.
left it. So what would you like to do next? A little slower, a little more precise, and let the things kind of like one thing and then another thing and then another thing. So try it again.
Okay. So John, you said your company was losing $100,000,000.
Yeah.
Okay, and we said we could fix it for 200,000. So how would you want us to proceed?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Those are three separate things. Very good. Very good. This is the essence of fulfillment. Remind them how much they're losing, that we can fix it for them. How would you want to proceed? Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, who hasn't gone? Is that everybody? Jack, we just took them through how about Troy?
Through fulfillment. Yeah, I was listening. I just had to get switched over to the desktop.
Is Troy gone?
Yeah, I'm here. All right, John. So as I understand it, you're losing about $1 million a year, and our company is able to save you from that heartache for only a one-time fee of 100 grand. So what would you like to do next?
Bam. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Now, you guys feel how much better that is?
Keep it simple, keep them empowered.
Yeah.
You guys all sounded like seasoned salespeople.
Yeah. And they said they talked for what, 15 seconds? That's what a great salesperson does. It's just like, hey, bam, bam, bam. What do you want to do? Now, as soon as that person, let me tell you, bam, 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 what do you want to do? That's a pro. Here's a not pro. So thank you so much for having me again. Just to recap, I came all the way from Dallas to see you, and I couldn't be more pleased at the reception I've gotten here. And what a fine, I love the tour of your blah, blah. The guy's just about to fall out of his chair. He does not care, okay? Drop it. We've already had our bonding rapport. We had our 3 minutes early on. Right down to business. Bam, bam, bam. It's like a lottery ticket. We're scratching it off. So they're going to say something, and then we want to drill down on what they say. If they say, let's say 3 things they want. They want a demo, they want referrals, they want a money back guarantee. At that point, what you want to do is you want to get them to rank those 3. Okay, get them to rank those 3. Most important, second, and then third most important. Generally, if they'll do that, all you really have to do is satisfy number 1. That's the only one that really counts. The other 2 are just filler. So if they say, well, the most important thing is I want a referral. Okay, let's see. Kevin, if we're dealing with the referral issue, what would you say if I said, I want a referral?
Would you ask them a question?
Yeah.
Saying how? What kind of would you like?
Exactly. You get them again to define what it is a referral is. What do they want? Do they want to call someone? Do they want to go see a facility? Do they want to see a white paper? They might want a money back. Who knows what they want? I don't know what they mean by referral. So you would try to define exactly what that put it in a little tiny box, as small a box as possible. and then say, so if we get you this referral and we do exactly what you want, then what happens? And again, let them tell you. Don't say, then do I get an order? No, you say, then what happens? And hopefully they say, well, then I give you an order. Like, okay, great. Now we go do it. So Jack, do you have anything else to add on the fulfillment box?
No, I just think doubling down on not trying to sell someone, really almost like you're the anti-sales, like you're trying to, I mean, honestly, you don't want to chase everybody. You want them kind of chasing you a little bit. So you're asking them questions. And I really think my favorite is the 40-year-old virgin just asking questions in the library, right? You know, you could say, let's go on a date, or, you know, I think you're really pretty or anything, but nope, just asking questions. And that is, it's something that almost everybody you talk to has never experienced before from a salesperson. They're going to be used to people pushing and saying, hey, we're great for you, even though we haven't done any qualification. And that's what it's almost like it's zeitgeist. Everyone has this idea about what salespeople say and do. And if you can do the opposite of that and not even come across as a salesperson, it's like magic. So the temptation throughout the whole submarine is to jump to solve, jump to say, hey, listen, this is, you know, you've said enough to tell me this is a great fit and we're going to be great for you guys. And, you know, but really all the way through the process, even once you've sold something, we'll talk about this in post sale. And, you know, once you've sold something, you never want to be like, you know, celebratory and victory lapping. You always kind of want to be like, listen, let's what's the next thing? Let's implementation, how's support going? I mean, just kind of constantly asking them questions to have them tell you what's important to them, never assuming what you think is right or important for them. So you guys all sounded great though. I mean, the just that little section, just talking, you know, keeping it simple and asking, that sounds important. What is, you know, tell me why that's important to you, or what were you hoping happened when we did the demo, or just that reflexive habit is fantastic. And you guys will go a long way if you can internalize that and do it going forward. So
here's another thing you can think about is, you know, when you're going through this sub, let's say we're in fulfillment and they say, I want a demo, I want a referral, I want a money back guarantee, you know, I want to go see someone in Northern California. And they give you 4 things and you're just not quite sure what to do. You can always take a time out. There's just going slower through the submarine is better than going fast. So you can say, well, you know what, Gavin, that's 4 things, man. That's a lot. Let me digest on that. Let me digest on that and think about the best way to do it. How about, can we look at your calendars real quick and just pick up a time to pick up the discussion, maybe, you know, early next week? And just, instead of trying to rush through it and figure out something you're not sure of, set it for next Tuesday, go talk to your sales manager or colleague or somebody and say, how do you handle a reference in Northern California? And how do you handle this one? How do you handle that one? So when you come back, you know, you have more information, and you could have sent them a bevy of emails between now and then asking them for more clarification. So when you show back up, you're just in a much stronger position than if you'd have kept fighting, you know, in a place where you weren't necessarily ahead. Does that make sense, Jacko? Okay.
That makes sense to me, John. If I may, it also kind of makes sense if they're like, okay, I need you know, 3 referrals, a guarantee, and that demo. If you kind of take a pause back and say, okay, get back with your team and try to define what that looks like. Maybe he goes back to the team, he or she goes back to the team, you get back on that meeting. The only thing they want is a couple of referrals and you're back on track.
Yeah. 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 I mean, going slower, being more prepared. You know, the good deals take a time to get through. So I think that's good. Just, and again, like Jack says, you don't want to appear to be in a hurry. You know, you want to be like, you don't appear like this guy doesn't seem to want my business. Why isn't he asking for the order yet? Nice and smooth. Well, Jack, I think we're good on fulfillment. You want to do post sale?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you any better at it than I am?
100% no. You've been post sale many more times than I have.
Okay, so post sale is pretty easy. first of all, it's optional. Okay. It's optional. You don't have to do it, but psychologically, it's hard to do, but psychologically, it works. If you do it, it works. So if Brandon sold somebody something, immediately thereafter, he's going to have the customer will have a little buyer's remorse. Everyone does. You're like, I wonder is that a good decision? Is this thing really going to work? Did I just waste some money? They just pop in your head. And sometimes a couple of days later, they might call and cancel the order and say, hey, priorities have changed and, it's not a good time for us. Let's try again in a few months. So that happens sometimes in sales. And the way to beat that, or at least to increase your odds, is after you've sold something, is to say, well, okay, Brandon, we got a deal. Sounds like a good deal. They go, okay, great. We'll send the people out Tuesday to start the project. Great. Brandon, before we do that, are you sure you want to do it? You got a lot of stuff going on here. You sure this is the right time? And Brandon's going to say 100 times out of 100, he's going to say, yeah, it's the right time. I told you it's the right time. We need this. So what's just happened is you've just sold him the second time. And you've kind of taken away a big part of his buyer's remorse. So it's just a small thing at the end. Doesn't have to be a big deal, but like, thanks. It's going to sound good. But before we go forward, are you sure this makes sense for you? And it's a gutsy move to do that. But I've never seen it not work. But I skip it all the time. So I'm going to practice it, Jacko. You want to go first?
Sure.
So
are you asking me?
Jack, I would like to go forward with the project.
Fantastic. I think we'll be a good fit. Before we set the details in motion though, just wanted to tell me, pretend it's 6 months from now, what would have to be true for this to be a total disaster for your company?
I think if we missed our next quarter's numbers, we'd probably have to cancel it.
You see that as a good possibility?
No, I don't think so. We got it in the bag.
Is there anything on our end that we could do to totally mess this up?
If you set a bad consultant out here that we didn't like, yeah.
I could guess, but what is bad in your eyes?
Well, late, talks too much, smells of cheap rye whiskey.
Anything else?
No, I'm talking about you, Troy.
All right. Well, it's pretty normal at this point for this is a pretty big financial commitment for your business. Understand it's a good return on your investment down the road, but it's pretty normal for someone to have buyer's remorse. So, is there anything you can see making this go sideways when you go home tonight? Are you going to have any regrets? Or what if your current vendor comes back and says, "Hey, we can offer you a 10% discount on what you're paying with us"?
We're committed to you guys.
Okay, great. Love to hear it. Love the vote of confidence, and we'll get our proposal over to you later today.
Yeah. Well, I think Jack went whole hog there. He went real.
Well, if we're gonna do it, we might as well send it, right?
You went hard. And no one has to go that hard, but you can certainly go that hard if you want to. But I like the question of, let's be grown-ups here. How can we screw this up? We don't want to do it. What's a screw up look like to you? And find out what they don't want. I think that's interesting.
I think it's a nervous place to be. If you're the buyer for your company, if you make the wrong choice of vendor, that could cost you your job. So I've got a number of clients that are like this, where I work for them more than I work for their company, right? I'm there to make their job and life easier. And if they're trying to get a promotion, I'm trying to do everything I can to support that. And so, if you really want to make a connection with someone and build a relationship, which you should be, relationship-based selling is what we're doing. So asking these questions, they're almost like, hey, what's your biggest fear here, right? This is really normal. Anytime you make a new purchasing decision for the company, it's a nervous time for you. So what what can I do to help make you less, more confident about this going forward? Just something along those lines. I think it shows that you care about them as a person and not just as a transactional, cog in the wheel. And so, you don't have to ask it, but it is kind of a bold way to say, listen, I care about you more than anybody else you're going to talk to in a sales position. If you talk to an AT&T sales rep, there's no chance in hell they're going to ask you this question. As soon as you tell them the who, what, when, and why of what they need and how, you're not asking any more questions. You're just sending them a, purchasing order.
And the old rule of sales was, as soon as they say yes and sign the contract, you just stand up, say thank you, and get the hell out. Because so many people have screwed up a sale by saying something stupid. Jack didn't say anything stupid, but you can say something like, thanks for the sale. We appreciate it. If you like this product, wait until you see the new one that's coming out in 3 months.
Yeah.
They can say, new one, what? So, there's something to be said for, minding your words carefully once you get an order. But anyway, let's just get through this real quick and we can at least be through the sub. So Mark, why don't you talk to Jack and try to make sure he's not going to change his mind.
Oh, this is a tough one. It's always your first time.
You got it, Mark.
I'll try.
No pressure.
What would be a bad optics for you for us to screw this up?
Good question. So we've been burned by a couple of vendors in the past. Typically, they will overpromise and underdeliver. So they'll sell us something that sounds great, and then when it comes time to actually putting it in place, they'll either be able to deliver some or none of it. So that's put us in that's how we got to meet you in the first place. Was we went back to the drawing boards after a bad vendor implementation. Cost us a lot of time, obviously a lot of money down the drain. So just as long as you guys can show up and deliver what you're telling me you can, then we'll be good.
Okay. Is there any way that it's gonna be something look bad on our end for kind of like along the way? Like if you see, like, let's say the projected studies for this, it's like 6 months to accomplish it. How you would look us or something along the way? Gosh, I'm sorry, I totally lost. I was straight. Yeah. So 6 months from now, how would you want us to see to finish the project?
Yeah, I mean, I think if let's pretend it's 6 months from now, we've closed the deal this week. The thing that could make this blow up at the quickest, it would be poor communication on your end. That's really been the thing that vendors don't do well, that we typically hate is once they sell something, it's like we can't get anybody at that company to answer a phone call or respond to an email. So everything's great during the sale and everything, implements well. And then once it's implemented, it's like we can't get anybody to pick up the phone. So as long as you guys keep up this level of good communications, I think we'll be good.
All right. Is there any doubts that you would change your mind going to another vendor? Especially like if you're being offered for like a lower price?
And never say never, but I think that we had enough heartache with our previous vendors in this space that even if they offered it to us for free, I think we'd probably say no. So
okay.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can say, okay, great. Well, you can just close the conversation there. But yeah, mostly you nailed it. I'd say, like anything, this is going to come with reps, right? If you practice these questions a couple times, if you have these conversations with some friendlies and just tell them explicitly, hey, I'm taking you through my sales process for practice. That's the best way to do this, right? I mean, practicing the mirror is kind of silly because it's no one's talking back. But even if you did in the mirror every morning, ask a question from the submarine to yourself, just to say it out loud, so you aren't doing the push to think on a live call.
But
right?
I would say, Jacko, he needs to have them written down, Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, like, right, if it was me and I was doing my first one, I would write down something like, let's say, are you sure you want to go forward?
Yeah.
That's all you got to say, and you're done.
Or
with the
let's
film.
pretend it's months from now.
Yeah.
What would have to be true for this to be a smashing success? You know, you don't have to say it's failure. You could failure or success, but and you could even like Mark, as you're going through your call, you know, you started off with the upfront contract and all that BNR and stuff on the front, write that stuff down. I don't typically get this far down the submarine, writing it all down. You can, but if you get to this point in a call, you know, while they're talking, you're listening and you're writing, saying, okay, what's the next thing? What do I want to say next?
Yeah.
If I have a thought about while they're talking, I'm not going to cut them off. I'm going to write it down, star it, and come back to it before the call's over.
It's so weird, guys. I still, you know, I've done this a million times. I still will take something like this, and I'll have it written down. I'll have a couple things for BNR. I'll have written down pain, budget, decision, a few little notes on each one, and when you pull this out at a meeting, it's so weird. It's like you all of a sudden have the power. They don't have one.
I use a clipboard because I'm convinced that anybody that looks like they're supposed to be there and they're holding a clipboard,
Yeah.
you could literally walk into the White House and just start asking people questions about, hey, that's supposed to be over there. You know, this conveys authority. It shows that you thought about what you were going to do before you showed up and started doing it. And if you have stuff written down, like in a perfect world, I've got all this printed out and I've got like boxes to check, and I'm just going around like, okay, cool, next. And it's like, it shows them that you're following a process and you've thought about what you're doing instead of just flying off the cuff, you know, trying to be a sleazy salesperson. So absolutely write it down. And even if you just start the kind of the framework of this stuff just kind of spelled out, it's really, this process is almost identical in terms of the way I approach it as coordinating an airstrike, right? You do all the planning, you do all the coordination, you do all the practice, but when you actually get downrange and start, you know, people start shooting at you, I'm not writing shit down in that context, but I've done it 100 times previously where I wrote it down. I don't have to. So absolutely write it down until you feel like it's, you know, second nature, and then you can kind of flow with it. But nothing wrong with writing it down. It actually gives you kind of a leg up because you seem like you know what you're doing. So who's next?
Let's go 2 question max.
2 question max. Let's try and do this in under a minute each. Kevin's computer just died. Brandon, you want to go next?
Absolutely. Well,
Right,
Jack, it sounds like this is a solid solution to your problem. But I've just got to ask you, are you sure this is a good time to make this move for your company?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Brandon, you know, that's a great question. I appreciate you asking that. Absolutely. Even though we know it's going to be a lift and we're going to spend a little more money than we have in the past, if we don't take care of this, it could be the end of the company. So we're you know, now or never.
Okay, well, let me just ask you this. Over the next 6 months, as we apply this solution for you guys, what obstacles do you see that I may have that I might need to overcome with you guys?
Yeah, another great question. So one of the things that has really you know, chapped our ass in the past has been, you know, we buy something from someone who's very eager to work with us, and as soon as we buy that thing, it's like we never talk to them. They just disappear. We'll spend $50,000 a month on the service, send them an email to support, and it'll take 2 days to get a reply if we're lucky. So communication post-sale is our biggest thing. If people stop communicating post-sale, basically dead in the water. We'll get out of that contract as soon as we can. So just keep up the communication, be responsive like you have been, and we'll be good.
Awesome. Thanks,
Good.
Jack. Well, I think that's one of our strengths. Looking forward to that meeting next week with you to go over that guarantee we talked about.
Awesome, Brandon. Good job,
Good.
man.
Good first question. Who's next? Colton?
Yeah, I'll take a stab at it.
Stand up.
Oh Lord, my mind went blank.
Okay.
You need to have it written down.
Yeah, I just looked at the wrong thing. So normally when a company is making a big change like this, they have buyer's remorse. Do you foresee any issues that might make you regret choosing us?
Yeah. we've had a couple of run-ins in the past where we bought something from them, and then when it came time to implement, they couldn't actually deliver the thing they said they were going to do. They sold us a really nice rosy picture of what they could do and solve all our problems. And then once we got down to actually doing it, it turns out they were either incapable or had never done that before for anyone in our industry. And it was very evident from basically the time we signed the contract till we kicked them to the curb that they sold us a false bill of goods, said they could do something they couldn't do. So, if you guys can deliver what you say you can deliver and you do it on a timely fashion and you communicate, we'll be hunky-dory.
Okay, so based on that information, are you 100% sure you want to move forward with this today?
100%. Let's do this.
Good.
Nice, Colton. Ivan, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next. I am
Alright.
having a little issues with that second part, right? So the first part, you ask like, are you sure you want to go through it? And then for the second part, what do we want to get from the customer? per se?
You can look at this as one part or two parts or however you want to. You can even just ask one question. It doesn't have to even be two questions. You could just say, let's just pretend it's 6 months from now. What would have to be
Mhm.
true for this to be a smashing success for both of our companies? And that could be the only question. They tell you what their concerns are and say, okay, great. Well, we'll make sure we'll put that as a focus on the implementation team. And then we'll, whatever the next step is, you can make it up. We'll send you a proposal. We'll send you the, paperwork, whatever. But it doesn't have to be two questions or two parts. You're just trying to get an idea of what we care about
Mhm.
after the sale's done, right? What
Okay.
are our, if we're nervous, if we're excited, if we have something we particularly want to happen or not happen, you're trying to uncover that. So whatever question or questions you want to ask.
Okay, sweet. All right, so I'll take a stab at it as well. Let's go.
Let's
Hey
go.
Jack, are you sure you want to go through the with us? Let me restart that.
Yeah.
Hey John, are you sure you want to go through with us on fuck.
Good, man. Hey, do as many times as you need to get it right.
I wrote something else, that's why I thought I wrote the first question, but okay.
Good.
Hey John, are you sure you want to go through with this? Is this a good time?
Yeah, it's pretty pressing. I mean, we got to this point, so we're pretty eager to make a change here. Yep.
Okay. What does success with our company look like to you in the next 6 months?
Yeah, so success looks like you guys communicate and respond to our inquiries in a timely fashion. The worst thing you can do would be to just stop responding to our communications, so calls, emails, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Sweet.
Cool. So yeah, you can stop there. I mean, it's kind of an artificial stopping point, so you would normally segue to the next thing. But yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, just the more you do it, the more you practice, the less it'll sound like you're reading from a script. But even if you're just reading from a script and it sounds that way, that's better than making it up as you go. So don't, the hardest part, and going back to the rhino thing, is being kind of immune to feeling uncomfortable. I mean, it's a very uncomfortable thing we're doing here is we're talking to strangers about their most painful problems that really mean things in their life. And so it's naturally uncomfortable. So you're doing something even more uncomfortable, which is kind of following this script, which kind of isn't. I don't think it lends itself to like this is how people normally talk to each other. It's not how we think about sales conversations typically happening. So, yeah, good job. More reps you get, even if you again stand in front of the mirror in the morning and just say, "Hey, I've got a call with John today. John, what's the thing that you most care about in a deal like this? What's the thing that's most important to you?" Right? That's essentially what you're trying to figure out. What's important to that person, that buyer. But good stuff. Troy, have you gone? All right, Troy, you want to call John?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, John. So normally when a company is making a big change like this, they feel, unsure of their choice. So I just want to make sure, do you foresee any issues that might make you regret choosing our company?
No, I'm ready to move forward.
Okay, great. And on the same wavelength there, six months from now, what would right look like to you in terms of the services that we provide you guys?
I think all of our salespeople would know how to negotiate significantly better. I mean, I'll be able to tell, but if we can just get their negotiation skills up in 6 months, that would be great.
Okay, great.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Very good.
I
Very
think,
good.
has anyone not done this yet?
I
I think we got everybody. Okay, Kevin, that's right. I thought you maybe went first. Kevin, call John, please.
Hey, John.
Hey,
Thank you.
Kevin.
Thank you for choosing us, sir, to help. Do you foresee any issues that you may like to address?
No.
Excellent.
All right.
Good.
Kevin, would you ask again, like you and John are like at a Christmas party?
I mean, I don't know why you can't. Why would you just use the perfect phrase? I mean, we talked about the perfect phrase. You can just say that. You guys don't have to make up any other phrases.
I did also.
I think Kevin was off. He was
my
off
computer did
computer for
also
a little
cut
bit.
out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had to make it up. I mean, the perfect phrase is what, Brandon? What's the perfect phrase?
John, are you sure this is a good time to make this move for you and your company?
Yeah, that's perfect. Or you can say, "Are you sure you want to go forward?" Are you sure you want to go forward? That's 7 words. You can write it down. And that's all you got to do for the exercise. So let's try it again.
All right, so all I got to say. All right, sweet. All right, let me try. I'll let them keep on it.
Offline. Hello.
Hey, John, this is Kevin.
Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Are
Good.
you sure you would like to go forward with this?
Yes, I am. I've made the decision. I'm going forward.
That is great to hear, sir.
So, Kevin, that's very good, man. You followed that to a T. The nut that you're after at this question, with this phase of the sub, is what do they care about? What are they nervous about? Right. So any number of ways you can ask that question. You could say something like, what would have to happen for this to be a disaster for you and your company? Now that you've told me you're ready to go forward, just getting it out there. You know, they might say, listen, we've had a vendor in the past that we bought something, it all sounded great. And then once it actually came time to deliver the services, either they couldn't deliver the services, they'd never done it for this type of industry, or they just stopped responding to emails. I mean, literally, I have a customer that spends $50,000 a month and their vendor will not reply to emails or phone calls or support stuff.
In that case, you would open it with, are you sure?
here.
So like something like doing that negative thing, like, are you sure you want to go forward with this?
Yeah. So this is a big commitment. Is now the right time? Are you sure not you want to do this right now? And then they say yes. And you say, okay, great. What could make this a disaster for your company? What would we have to do to completely mess this up? And they're going to tell you what they're concerned about. Because if you don't do that, you're never going to know that. And then you might do that exact thing in a month or a week from now. So you're just trying to
Jack and I know a guy who runs a $4 billion a year public company. And he started the company like 30 years ago. And when he hires somebody, a consultant or someone to help the business, you know what the most important, the thing that really, really, really would tick him off and get you fired? Anyone want to guess what it would be?
Communication.
lying.
Well, those are all very reasonable guesses. Anyone else have a guess?
Not contacting the customer after the sale.
Also good. See, these are all reasons a CEO might fire a consultant, but they're all our opinions, maybe what we would think. What he thinks is do not stay at expensive hotels. That's it. He tracks where people are staying. And he doesn't want, because he remembers when the company was little and they would all share rooms and stay at the Red Roof Inn or the Holiday Inn or somewhere. And I'm sure that's where it comes from. But I mean, people get fired for flying business class or staying at a Ritz or, that kind of stuff. This is a $4 billion a year company. So it's important that we find out from him, hey, what might get us fired?
You stay at the Four Seasons at the suite, the honeymoon suite.
Yeah.
Run up a huge
Yeah.
room service tab. I mean,
Yeah.
you would never in a million years guess that that's what your prospect cares about. That's the whole point of the submarine, is that you don't know what they care about from the stem to stern. So while we do it, Brenna, we're about to turn it back over to you guys. I'm going to drop a link in the chat to just do a quick primer on what a CRM is from HubSpot, and we'll get into that mañana.
It's good to be back. Good to be back.
Welcome back. 2023's best year ever.
That's right.
Do this.
Well, thank
Here
you
we
very
go.
much.
Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.